surface, but fragile underneath. People are spending, but often with money they don't have. The job market is showing cracks, and the cost of living keeps climbing. It's not enough to look at one number. We need the full picture, from shopping malls to the Federal Reserve. We'll break down consumer spending, the cooling job market, and stubborn inflation. By the end, you'll see why the US economy is a story of two competing narratives. The next few months, incredibly important. Let's dive in. The main reason the US economy hasn't crashed? Americans are still spending big time. Consumer spending is 2/3 of all economic activity, and right now, people are shopping like there's no tomorrow. Retail sales are up, businesses are busy, and the economy looks strong. But here's the catch. Much of this spending is fueled by debt, not rising incomes. Credit card balances and personal loans are at record highs. It's like keeping your braai going by burning your garden furniture. Impressive for now, but unsustainable. Eventually, the bills come due. If a shock hits, like job losses or higher interest rates, spending could collapse. The main engine of the US economy is running on borrowed time and borrowed money. So yes, people are spending, but the foundation is shaky. The question isn't if this will catch up to us, but when. The American consumer is powerful, but not invincible. The clock is ticking. The job market was once the star of the US economy, creating jobs, boosting confidence, and fueling spending. Now it's cooling fast. Job creation has slowed to a crawl, and recent revisions show hundreds of thousands fewer jobs than we thought. Industries like tech and manufacturing are cutting back or laying off workers. Confidence is dropping. People are worried about job security and spending less. Immigration restrictions have shrunk the labor force, dragging down growth. The once solid job market is now wobbly, adding to the sense of uncertainty. If fear spreads, the credit-fueled spending spree could end abruptly. The braai is still going, but the heat is fading. The days of easy job hopping are over. Uncertainty is the new normal. Inflation, the fly that won't leave the picnic, remains a headache. After wild spikes, inflation has settled around 2–3%, but it's stubborn, especially for essentials like food, rent, and healthcare. For many, the cost of living keeps rising, even if the headline numbers look better. New tariffs are making imported goods more expensive, adding fresh inflationary pressure. Consumers end up paying the price, eroding their purchasing power. Even with pay raises, people aren't getting ahead. They're just running in place. Persistent inflation is a constant source of anxiety. The surface looks calm, but financial pressure is building underneath. The inflation problem isn't solved, it's just changed shape. The economic picnic is far from relaxing. The Federal Reserve is walking a tightrope. Cut rates to boost the economy or hold steady to keep inflation in check. A rate cut could help a weakening job market but risks reigniting inflation. If they don't cut, the economy could tip into recession. It's a no-win situation, too much stimulus and prices soar, too little and growth stalls. The Fed's next move will have massive consequences for everyone. There's little room for error. The world is watching and the stakes couldn't be higher. Every decision is a gamble. The balancing act is more precarious than ever. The outcome, uncertain and potentially dramatic. The US economy isn't an island, it's deeply connected to the rest of the world. Right now, global risks are piling up. Trade disputes, sluggish growth in Europe, and China's slowdown. New tariffs have sparked trade wars, disrupting supply chains and creating uncertainty for businesses. When other economies slow, they buy less from the US, hurting American exporters and jobs. A storm abroad can easily spill over and trigger a downturn at home. The US is a big ship, but it sails on a stormy global ocean. Even the strongest economy can be tossed around by global turbulence. The risk of a mild recession is rising. The global forecast? Increasingly cloudy. America can't ignore the world's problems. They're already at the door. The next shock could come from anywhere. The US economy is more vulnerable than it looks. It's not just journalists and consumers who are worried. Major institutions like the IMF and Fitch Ratings are sounding the alarm. The IMF warns that new tariffs threaten long-term growth, not just for the US, but globally. Trade wars create uncertainty and reduce investment, making everyone poorer. Fitch is eyeing the weakening job market, persistent inflation, and rising debt with concern. A credit rating downgrade would make borrowing more expensive for the US. Moody's puts the odds of a recession at 50-50. A coin flip. These warnings cut through the political noise. The experts see stress fractures beneath the surface. The big question: is anyone in power actually listening? The clock is ticking and the risks are real. The US economy is being pulled in two directions: a booming AI investment wave and the drag of new trade tariffs. The AI boom is real. Billions are pouring into data centers, chips, and software, adding a full percentage point to GDP growth. But outside tech, business investment is stagnant. The AI surge is masking weakness elsewhere. Meanwhile, tariffs are raising costs and disrupting supply chains, especially as the economy slows. The impressive GDP growth is propped up by tech, but that can't last forever. The negative effects of tariffs are just starting to bite. It's a tug-of-war between future promise and present mistakes. A new tax bill might help in 2026, but that's far off. For now, the economy is sprinting and stumbling at the same time. The high-tech boom can't cover the cracks forever. The contradictions are piling up. So where does that leave us? The US economy looks like a sturdy house, busy, bright, and freshly painted, but the foundation is cracking. Consumer spending is propped up by debt, the job market is weakening, and inflation keeps leaking away purchasing power. The Federal Reserve faces impossible choices: fix one problem, risk making another worse. Global storms are brewing, threatening to shake the whole structure. The economy is strong but strained, resilient but fragile. The coming months will test whether the foundation can hold. The risks are growing and the pressure is building. The house is still standing, but the sky is darkening. Will it weather